Way back in the dark ages, well, 1991, I built this Airfix Halifax bomber in 1/72 scale. It's now over 30 years old, and I've previously stripped it back to bare plastic using oven cleaner. Disassembled it, reassembled it to the point you see now. It just needs some final assembly before I can give it a brand new paint job. But this time, I'll be using a marbling technique on the black sections to break up the monotone finish, and this for the camouflage on top, and then bring the aircraft back to life. So let's see how this classic build can be transformed back to its former glory. Before we get back to the model, let's take a moment to look at the real Handley Page Halifax, one of Britain's main heavy bombers in the Second World War. Alongside the Lancaster and the Stirling, the Halifax was a key part of the RAF's strategic bombing campaign over Europe. The Halifax was designed in the late 1930s in response to the Air Ministry's need for a modern four-engined heavy bomber. Its first flight was in October 1939, just after the outbreak of World War II. Early models were powered by Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, though later versions received more powerful Bristol Hercules 16 engines to carry heavier loads and improve performance. With a crew of 7, pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, wireless operator and gunners, the Halifax was designed to be versatile and reliable. And now, let's get back to this model. It's fascinating to think that this small kit, well, it's not so small actually, represents all of that history. With a fresh paint job and a bit of marbling and some techniques to make the painting pop, we can capture a tiny piece of the Halifax's story right here on this bench. And the first thing I'm going to do is to temporarily put these cowlings on. I'm going to use a bit of PVA glue. I'll get them on. It means I can mask it all up without the propellers being in the way, which is easier. Once it's all painted, I can pop them off, put the propellers on and fix them permanently. So what I'm going to try to do is to use a bit of PVA just to as if it was irregular cement and put them on. One thing I need to say is these cowlings, this one on this end, the exhaust stack is offset differently to the other 3. I can just show you that's the cutout for the oil cooler. That's where the exhaust will go on that one. The other 3, the exhaust is here. I had to look up the instructions to that to make sure I'm putting the right ones in the right place. So let's go. And this might be fun because this doesn't instantly stick. And some of these are quite loose. They don't really stay on their own. Some of them aren't too bad because obviously it's been taken apart, should I say. So a lot of the tabs for putting it back together aren't as big or as tight as they should be. So yeah, I don't want to stick it all up. So I don't need to be afraid of using quite a bit of this stuff. Right, here we are. If you've seen my Gallery Mobius review, you would have seen that I use this kit as a sort of test bed for that airbrush, and I've given it a colossal mottling, marbling. Oh, this is really tricky to turn around. For the black to go on, to try to give the night black, a bit of definition and variance. But before I can think about painting the black, what I do need to do is get the nose glazing on. Oops. So let's have a look at what I'm doing with that. So here we have a brand new Lewis gun for the nose and nose cone, and a Lewis gun and nose cone from a scrap kit. Now, putting this on and fixing it in place now, the gun is pretty likely to get broken off. This one tells its own story. This is how it came. Now, the original gun from this kit actually was broken off like that as well. So what I've done is drilled a small hole down it and used my favourite brass tubing. I don't know if you can see that, will it focus? Just about. And I put a small piece of wire underneath to represent better the look of a Lewis gun barrel. So that can go to one side. This can be fixed in place, and it should be pretty resilient. Oops. Because that's what I did with the B17 I built, and I can promise you all the gun barrels sticking out of that, most of them were replaced by this, and a lot of them I did bump, and I'm sure plastic ones would have snapped. So I'm going to get this, I'm going to do some painting on this because it should have some seams over it. So I'll get that painted up, get the gun, and this ball aiming guy needs to be installed as well, and show you what I've got. And here we have all the parts of the nose cone and the little figure that goes in there. Assembled, what am I saying? I haven't assembled anything. Painted. The figure itself looks a bit crude, and that's because it's when I stripped the paint off the exterior of this kit, the figures were all inside it, so they never got any of the paint stripper, and I've left them all as is, as a sort of testament to my 1991 build of this kit. The glazing part itself is just had a line masked and painted there, and a bomb aimer's window put on. And if you're wondering what that is and why it's so neat, it's because it's actually a letter O off this decal sheet I've got. So I've got enough for one more window, unless I start messing about with C's and Q's. But that seemed to be the easiest, neatest way to deal with that now. And the gun, of course, is all painted up. Now, when I was originally building these kits, this thing here, I always wondered what that was. I thought it was a massively misshapen, what do you call it, rifle stock trigger. but it turns out it's actually a bag for the empty shell casings, so that's been painted accordingly. Pistol grip is the word I was looking for just then. So that's that, all ready to be fitted. However, what I think I will do is, before I put all that on and have it ready to be broken off if I do any more, or damaged, if I do any more serious modification build work, and I do actually, now I think about it, what I'm going to do, come on focus, are you focused? Not quite. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I put navigation lights in wingtips. Now I don't have to hand a kit where I've done that. I normally do, I think they're all packed away, which is a shame. But what I shall do is I shall do that on this kit, and probably make it into a separate video, step by step, Phil's top tips, how to improve your navigation lights. But that will be probably in another separate video, like I think I've just said. They'll both be done, the nose will be on, and then we can think about the rest of the painting. And that will be that. Oh, just bear with me because it's something else. I don't know if I've shown this on this kit. Just wait one moment. Right, we're back. So, as I was just mentioning, you may be wondering how at this stage of this build the turrets, tail and mid-upper, are nowhere to be seen. That's because when you build this kit, it will have you trap the turret into the fuselage, so it can turn it. There's a, I don't know if you can see that in there. Let me just rearrange these lights. There, you can just about make it out, but there is in the kit, there is a slot for flange that's on the bottom of the turret. Now, as you can clearly see, there's two pieces of plastic cord across the bottom of it, because what I like to do, and this makes life a lot easier, is with the turrets, and here's the turret itself, completely take those flanges off, put that false floor in, and the turret just drops in there, and it still works. In fact, I would say that probably turns easier than if it was built as you're supposed to build it. But obviously you can pop it in and out as you like. I'm not really going to be playing with this, so I'm not going to be flying it in a loop-to-loop, so the turret won't fall out. Now, the rear turret, I've been a little bit more creative with that, because that comes, oops, you can't see, so that the rear turret is trapped in this. It's not so much a flange like the other one was, but that piece there went right across there. There's two halves there, so that simply made a circle, so you had to have your rear turret in with two flanges, I believe, that gripped onto that. So what I've done is, on my tail turret, I've carved away most of that flange except for a little bit on one side. So that means, throw it away. So that means if I drop it in there, then turn it round, that little bit of flange is still there, gripping it in. And again, yes, the guns do work, of course they do. I can, it will move, but it also can be removed. Just got to remember which side I've got to turn it to. Now the interesting part about this is if I turn that almost that way, I'm about to take the turret out. In the case of the rear gunner bailing out, he would have actually had to have done this with his turret, because there's a door in the back part of the turret there that would open and he would just fall out, which hopefully there is power to the turret and he could turn it that way, which is a little interesting little nugget of information. So if I put that way, out it comes. And as I say, that makes masking, painting and all that a lot easier. So I'm going to get set up for putting these navigation lights on. And this build will rumble on. So I'll probably turn this into a part 1 and end this video here. The next video, that will all be done and this will be ready for painting, the full painting, and yep, an unmasking, which is always fun. So in the between times there will be a video detailing exactly what I'm going to do with these navigation lights. So I shall see you in the next one. If you've enjoyed the video you've just watched, here's another video you might want to watch, a playlist you might want to watch also, and please don't forget to, if you have enjoyed it, leave me a like and maybe a subscribe. I would much appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.